Welcome to another video, and I'm very pleased to have you, because today we have a very special analysis for you. It is Sol versus the US dollar. Solana has been one of the cryptocurrencies that has been huge in this bull run. It came all the way from around $1 all the way up to over $200, almost hitting 300. But today the cryptocurrency is trading at around $34, and I'm going to be taking a look at what is going to be happening next. But please remind, I'm not a financial advisor, I'm just a guy who is going to try and get you the best entry points as possible. What I love to do in a top-down analysis, which is going to be doing today, is going from the 12 months down, so from the yearly candles. As you can see, the yearly, we have had two big yearly green candles followed by a red candle. Not much interesting there. The 6-month candle, not much interesting here as well. And the 3 months or the quarterly candle is showing a little bit more. You can see that we've had a clear top right here. You could even consider this an evening star pattern. An evening star pattern happens when you have a big bullish engulfing candle followed by an indecisive candle, which can be a little bit green or a little bit red, or just like plain simple, just like this one. And then followed by a bearish engulfing, which is what we have right here. And this is usually known as a very top forming pattern. As you can see here, that also concluded in a huge downturn. If you would have shorted it from that point, you would have around 73% without any margin. So consider that you could do a 10x margin on that, and you can count the profits for yourself. From the monthly time frame, we are starting to get a little bit of a better view, but I would like to jump down into the weekly in a little bit. We can start to mark some interesting points for the monthly candles, and you could also see that the evening star pattern was also formed on the monthly time frame, which is showing us that this definitely was a good top signal. You can see the big green candle, indecisive one, and a big red one. That led to a huge decrease. Taking a look at this chart, you can also see that we are at this moment trading inside the bearish engulfing candle we've had in August, on top of this kind of support zone. And from this point on, you could still argue to make a little support zone here, but to make the chart, or to keep the chart as clean as possible, I'm not going to be doing that right now. From the weekly time frame, we are also starting to see the moving averages come in. This is the 50 moving average, the 50 weekly moving average, which stands for the confidence indicator. This is an indicator that shows you the confidence in the market, and usually when we are above it, we'll trade way up, and if we are going below it, we will usually see it as a resistance and then go to the purple line, which is not yet drawn, but you could see it in our other analysis as well. From the weekly time frame, we can see that this point, this area, was definitely a point of resistance. We've seen it formed right here, and we are now seeing the confirmation at this area. Besides that, we can also see that this point right here, these 3 wicks, were also a decent point for support to be found. And we can also see that at the moment in June 2022, we've had to touch upon that moment as well. So I'm going to be marking that as well. So we can kind of have like quite a good range at this moment. Quite a good range on the weekly time frame. What we could see is that we went all the way down, we got a little bit up, we went all the way down, and we have formed a bearish flag from this point. A bearish flag usually is a continuation or a bearish signal, and you could usually do it by measuring the distance from the flag pole, which as you can see is this piece, and you can extrapolate that to where you break down. Breaking down from that point would give us a price of around $9. And usually I would say this might be a little bit over enthusiastic, but honestly with Solana you never know. Especially because this monthly candle, this one, the red one, is a bearish engulfing candle. And a bearish engulfing candle on the monthly time frame is very devastating. It can be devastating for a cryptocurrency because this usually means that the price is going to be declining even more. Since we closed at that point, you could see that we've made it to 50% and almost about 75% of that candle, which would have been a great shorting entry. At this moment, we are hovering inside that area, and based on the monthly time frame, you could even make the case that we would be going towards 4.78 or 79. The way down for Solana seems to be imminent. The longer time frames are confirming it, and the shorter time frames are starting to confirm it as well. I'm going to be deleting our little bear flag because you guys have probably got it in your memory as we speak, and take a look at what happens more. From the daily time frame, we are getting the vision, or I'm getting the vision, that this place is the range that we are trading in, and this is the only range that you should be taking into account. Range trading is usually very fun because you can usually just short the top long to the bottom, short to top, long from the bottom, and go at it that way. With this one, I wouldn't be so curious to see what will happen, especially because we have this big bearish wedge or bearish flag at this moment. On the daily time frame, we can also see that we've had this big red bearish candle, which is giving us the impression that the 50 moving average is something to take into account. Especially because we've had this area right here where it got rejected twice, then we broke through, we found support on it, and we broke through again, and then we retested it as resistance, and now it should be resistance. But one of the interesting things, and one of the, I would maybe even say last resorts of Solana, is that it has now broken above this area. The general rule of thumb, for me at least, is to trade a moving average game when you see them at this area. So when you see that the 50 moving average has definitely been found as support, which I wouldn't say is right now, but it is getting somewhere. When this is claimed as a support, you would usually trade all the way up to the 200 moving average, giving us an increase all the way up this area. This could mean that the price would be able to go up with about 60%, all the way up to about $50. One of the things I haven't done quite much in the recent analysis is draw the Fibonacci levels on top, and we can see that the Fibonacci levels are something to be taken into account. You can see we drew the Fibonacci level from the top to the bottom, and we like to use the 0.618, the 0.786, the minus 0.27 and the minus 0.618. Besides that, we also have the 1.618, and that's about it for our Fibonacci retracement. What I also like to do is take a look at the golden zone. The golden zone is the zone between 0.618 and 0.786. This is the area where we are currently finding support. This usually also is the area where a higher low could be formed. As you can see, this would be the low, this would be a first new high, and this would be the next higher low. So if we are able to break out of this red area above this 50 moving average, then we would be able to see a touch near the $54 area. Before, of course, taking a look once again. Going down to the lower time frames, we can see that we are currently finding support on all of the moving averages, which can be quite beneficial. I do think that there's a lot of noise from this area, so I wouldn't be able to trade much in this zone. If you are a believer in the Solana network, you can take a look and you can see that Solana is currently at one of the lowest points that it has been in years. I wouldn't want to say that I'm prejudiced, but I do think that Solana is one of the newer coins that still has a lot of potential to go down and find a bottom. Because don't forget, this is the first time that it ever got to these prices, but this is also the first time that it ever existed. So I'm sorry for that. That would make it a bit difficult to judge. And taking a look at what happened to Solana with the outages and more, I would say that shorting is one of the better options. However, shorting in this area wouldn't really make sense unless we see a follow through, because the big bucks could also have been made when you were in a short from around $40. Basically, from the longer time frames, I would say that we are headed down. From the a little bit shorter time frames, you could start to make the case for some bullish momentum. The first bullish momentum, what I would like to see is for this 50 moving average to hold, and from the 50 moving average, I would like to see it go anywhere near the 200 moving average. If that would mean that we could make a bullish engulfing out of this weekly candle, then we might have the opportunity for this zone to stay intact. However, make sure to not overtrade it, because this big bearish engulfing is still a force to be reckoned with. The $50 area is one of the areas where a possibility to short would definitely be open. Because in this area and above it, there really isn't too much. You can see the wicks right here, and you can see that it is right above this area. So if you were in a short from anywhere in this area, so let's say anywhere from $40 to $45, you would probably have your stop loss just above the previous high. This would make it a great place for stop hunting and getting some shorts in Solana. On the other hand, if we are able to break this zone and break through the 200 daily moving average, then we could get a upwards momentum up until the weekly 50 moving average anywhere around $70. However, I do still not think that that would be likely to happen. Basically, shorting from, let's say, $40 to $50, $55 maybe, would be a great opportunity, especially if you see that whenever we lose this area around the $25, there is not really much left. The only thing that I can honestly say that has any meaning, if it even has any meaning, is the area around $12 to $15, which happens to be exactly where the 1.618 Fibonacci retracement is, and a little bit lower towards $9 where our flag target is. Let me know what you think about Solana, the ecosystem, the cryptocurrency, and let me know what you think about the price zones that I just gave you. I would also like to know what you guys think about Solana. Is Solana ever going to be reaching new highs? Is it going to be doing that shortly, or are we in for a longer downtrend? Let me know what you guys think, and I would love to see you in the next one.